Welcome whānau to this Warhammer Underworlds battle report. An epic battle in the mirrored city between the mighty Stormcast warriors known as Steelheart's Champions and the malicious Skaven of Spiteclaw's swarm. Entering the second round of Warhammer Underworlds Battle League with the remaining 8 warbands now fighting for eternal glory following the elimination of the Briar Queen, the Fast Striders, Stormsire's Curse Breakers and Molog's Mob. Go back and watch the previous games if you want. No underlying narrative to this, just simply throwing models on the tabletop for your entertainment and using the rules for Shadespire and Nightfall, as I'm not going to buy the latest sets, although the upcoming Vampire Warband looks pretty decent. So sit back and enjoy. It's been a long hiatus of tabletop gaming videos, so it's good to be back. And if you want to see more from me, make sure to subscribe. I post weekly Warhammer videos, tabletop gaming stuff, as well as Let's Plays. But we'll kick into turn number 1 now, with Spiteclaw's Swarm leading the charge. Let's go. Before we kick into turn number 1, we'll take a quick look at the table setup. So both our boards laid down. We've got Spiteclaw's Swarm at the back here, Steelheart's Champions up the front. We've got objectives 5, 3, 1. And objectives 2 and 4 back there in the Skaven side. 3 hazardous hexes and deployment for Steelheart, Angrid, Oberyn, and then Spiteclaw's Swarm scattered across the back as well. So we'll move into activation for turn number 1 for Spiteclaw. Spiteclaw's Swarm activation number 1, Crick. The Almost Trusted is going to make a movement 1, 2, 3, 4 onto objective number 4, and that will end the first activation. For the power step end of activation number 1, my opponent has played Inspiration Strikes. Inspiration can strike at the most unlikely of moments. Choose a friendly fighter, they become inspired. So they've inspired the warband leader, Severin Steelheart, flips over to his golden side and now gets access to Mighty Swing, targets all adjacent enemies, roll for each. So going to make him a bit more of a killing machine, kill the Skaven swarms, and choose what to do now. Activation number 2 for Spiteclaw's Swarm, Steelheart inspired, simply move forward 3 hexes on the edge of the territory between Spiteclaw's Swarm and the Stormcast. Activation for the Spiteclaw's Swarm though, I'm simply going to move Spiteclaw himself 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll move him back here, so I don't want to attack just yet. Better to attack as a swarm. I want to keep my distance for now. So we'll pass over that again. Activation number 2 for the Stormcast. Stormcast activation, my opponent's going to send Angrid forward. 1, 2, 3. She's going to charge into Spiteclaw himself. So we've got some combat about to throw down. Alright, so Angrid is swinging in. Her model's a bit damaged. She's lost her shield and her hammer. But I've got a spare random one of these guys. I'll take off, chop that up, fix her up. Anyway, she's going to swing in 3 attacks. We're looking for hammers or crits. Rolling in now. So we've got a crit, a hammer, and sword. So that's going to be 2 hits. And to Spiteclaw, so I'll make my defense rolls. So Spiteclaw has suffered 2 attacks from Angrid, 1 critical. We've got 1 defense roll we can make, escaping on a dodge arrow or a crit. And we've got the dodge arrow, so Spiteclaw will survive. He does take 2 hits, 2 wounds, but he has 2 more remaining. And does he get knocked back? Yeah, Angrid will knock him back out of the Stormcast territory. So blood has been spilt. Spiteclaw's Swarm will respond in kind, moving into activation number 3 for Spiteclaw's Swarm. Activation number 3 for the Skaven. We have the Lurking Skaven, the 2 Wolverine claws here. He's going to make a dash. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to take revenge on Angrid for hurting his master. So he's got paired Qatar, 2 attack dice rolling. We're looking for swords or crits. So we've got support hammer. It's going to be a no hit, unfortunately. Activation number 3 for Steelheart's Champions. We'll have Oberyn the Bold is moving back 1, 2 to stand guard over objective number 5. And with that, we'll move into the final activation, turn number 1 for the Skaven. So final activation for the Skaven of Spiteclaw's Swarm. We'll move the Festering Skaven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So move him just in range of Steelheart. So we've got the Lurking Skaven, the Festering Skaven, Spiteclaw himself, preparing just on the edges of battle. We know that Steelheart has moved, but he hasn't charged, so he could still attack. I don't want to risk my guys just yet this early in the game. And we'll move into the final activation for the Stormcast for turn 1. So the Stormcast have just opted to draw an objective card. So that will end all activations for both sides. And we'll go into the end phase for turn number 1, see if we've gained any objectives, get rid of cards we don't want, that kind of thing. So stay tuned, we'll count things up and see what happens. End phase for turn number 1 in this Warhammer Underworlds battle report. I've gained 1 objective, Honed Survival Instincts. Skritch, Spiteclaw and his filthy band are consummate survivors. So score this in an end phase. No friendly fighter was taken out of action in the preceding action phase. 1 glory point, and that was why I chose not to move in to engage Severin Steelheart. I knew I could gain that 1 as long as I stayed out of combat. I did almost mess up though with Angrid. I didn't realise the amount of space that she could move. I only counted him, so Spiteclaw almost died, but we got through. So that's 1 glory point to the Spiteclaw Swarm, putting them in the lead currently. And with that, I will pay for 1 upgrade, the Whirling Halberd. So Skritch may prefer to let his minions do his fighting work. When cornered, he is a lethal warrior. So it means that he can target all adjacent enemy fighters. We've got a delicious setup growing right here. So we'll see what happens. It's going to make him a bit more deadlier as long as he survives. So Skritch is powered up. And on the Stormcast side, nothing to be gained so far. So it puts the Skaven in an early lead as we move into turn number 2. Skaven again will be kicking us off with activation number 1 for turn number 2. So we'll see what happens. Cross your fingers, place your bets, stay with me, your humble host, the maoriwargamer. Activation number 1 for Spiteclaw's Swarm for turn number 2. Spiteclaw himself is going to move forward. He's got his Whirling Halberd upgrade, so he's going to move in into the fray with 2 adjacent enemies. So his Whirling Halberd will activate on both. So we're going to make, firstly we're going to go attack into Angrid. Because she's already wounded him once, he's annoyed. So he's out for blood. 2 attacks, we've got swords, we've got crits, and we've also got 1 support. So nothing going into Angrid. So Angrid manages to evade the blows from Spiteclaw, but his whirling halberd does not stop with her. He's also going to attack into Severin Steelheart, warband leader versus warband leader. 2 attacks, we're looking for crits or swords. And we've got both crit and a sword. Severin is inspired, so he gets 2 defense rolls coming right up. Alright, so Severin's rolling to defend. We're looking for shields or crits. Oh, shit. So he got both. He's all good. Lives to tell another tale. Cancelled out my attack. That was pretty bad, and now Spiteclaw is in a perilous position. We'll move into activation number 1 for the Stormcast. So my opponent has gained an objective with immovable object. I claim this shard in the name of the God King. Flee while you still have use of your limbs. Oh, wait a minute. We can't claim that now. In an end phase. Pause. Alright, yeah. If I'm correct, they can't claim it now, but they can claim it at the end phase of turn 2. So after all 4 activations on both sides. They can move Oberon off. Because Oberon's held this for 2 action phases. He's free to move now, and you can still claim that. Similar to the one that I did for the Home Survival Instinct. So can't use it now, which is good for me. Means you can't get can't upgrade yourselves, which I'm sure my opponent was trying to do. That doesn't deter my opponent though, as they will use Unstoppable Strike onto Severin Steelheart. First attack action in the next activation gains Cleave. So going to make him a little bit more deadly as he charges in for the next turn. So we'll see what happens. Stay with us. Activation number 1. Turn number 2. Activation number 1 for turn number 2. My opponent's moving the Inspired Steelheart down here. Get that support coming in from Angrid. And rolling in with his Sigmarite broadsword into Spiteclaw, who has already been wounded. So can he take out the enemy warband leader? Potentially, we'll have to wait and see. Rolling in, roll those dice for the attack phase. Alright, so combat about to go. Alright, so combat about to go down. Severin supported by Angrid, rolling in 2 dice, looking for hammers, crits, or support. And we got a hammer and we got a sword. So 1 hit. Next action has Cleave. Let's double check what that does. I think I can still dodge. Yeah, so Cleave just means that I can't use the guard symbol, the shield symbol. But I can still roll, and looking to escape this on a arrow or a crit. Now this is important. My warband leader could potentially die. So rolling now. Oh shit. So Severin swings his sword and chops the head of Scratch Spiteclaw. Gone. Getting 1 glory to the Stormcast. Tying the game 1 for 1. And leaving my warband leaderless. Very tricky situation. We've still got numbers on our side. Maybe the death of the leader will enrage them, push them to greater feats of strength. We'll have to find out. Shit. We'll check if there's any cards to play, and come back. Oh wait, I do have a card to play. Okay. Aversion to death. Self-sacrifice is not an act widely celebrated amongst the Skaven. So play this after an attack action takes a friendly fighter out of action. Push up to 2 friendly fighters, 1 hex. So using aversion to death, 2 friendly fighters, 1 hex. I will move him here. I'm going to bump him forward as well. No. I'm going to bump Crick forward 1. And now with the Skaven, when a player chooses this fighter when using a ploy, they become inspired. So Crick has become inspired with the death of Spiteclaw, as well as the lurking Skaven. So powered up with increase the amount of defense rolls they can make, extra attack dice and extra damage for Crick. So that may have changed things in our favor. We'll have to see. We're going into activation number 2 for this Skaven. 1 to 1. See what happens. Activation number 2 for the Skaven. Cricket will be activating. 1, 2, 3. He's inspired, and he'll be taking lead of the warband in the absence of Spiteclaw. So rushing forward, he's got his warding spear. And he's going to take a stab into Severin Steelheart. Slashing in with his warding spear, we're looking for hammers, crits, and support from the lurking Skaven. Oh, that one's cocked. Alright, so that one there's a sword, that one at the back is a crit, so that's 1 hit. Steelheart gets 2 defense rolls and looking for, crits. Those 2. Alright, Steelheart looking to evade the damage from Crick's warding spear. He's rolling 2 dice looking for crits. And both unsuccessful rolls. So he takes 2 damage. Has 2 more left. And that will end activation number 2 for the Skaven. Activation 2, so Angrid went 1, 2, 3, charging into the lurking Skaven, who is also inspired. 3 attacks she'll be rolling in. 3 attacks she'll be hitting on hammers, crits, or support. So 1 hammer, 1 crit. Lurking Skaven gets 2 defense rolls. So I'm rolling those myself. Rolling out dodge arrow or crit. Oh shit. So nothing. And that does 2 damage apiece. He's got 3 health. So Angrid took out the lurking Skaven, who was inspired with her Sigmarite hammer, gaining a 2nd glory point, so 2 glory to 1. Game going in favor of the Stormcast so far. Dangerous stuff. I do have a card to play before we move into 3rd activation for Spiteclaw Swarm. There are always more. The swarms of the Skaven clans are truly endless. Choose 1 friendly fighter that is out of action, remove all wound tokens and place them on any starting hex that does include a starting hex. On the enemy side of the field. So you thought he was dead, he's not. He's back. He's appearing here. climbing out from amongst the rubble of the mirrored city, and he will become inspired as a result of using that ploy. So he's back, full health, inspired, standing alongside Crick, and we got some more plays to go. So all good, all gravy, people. Exciting stuff. We'll move into activation for Spiteclaw's Swarm, third one for turn number 2. Alright, activation number 3, Spiteclaw's Swarm. So these two have done everything they can do. So relatively safe from assault. What I'm going to do now is I will move 1, 2, 3. The Festering Skaven is going to move and attack the mighty Steelheart, who is already wounded from Crick. So he's going to attack in with his wicked daggers. He's got 2 attacks. We're hitting on swords, we're hitting on crits, and we're hitting on both support icons. So everything except hammers will be good to go. And both support from here and here, we're good to go. 3 successful attacks, stabbing in with the wicked daggers. We'll see if he can block that. He will get support coming in from Angry. Only 1 wound, so he's got 1 wound left. Not the strongest of attacks there, but we still drew blood. We still got actions to do. So I'm not too worried as we move into activation 3 for the Stormcast. Wait a minute. So I had a successful attack with my daggers, drawing blood from Severin Steelheart. And then I get the opportunity to knock him back 1 into this hazardous hex right here. Yeah. Severin loses his footing, steps backwards into this pillar of light that burns through anyone who steps within. Severin is actually dead from that. That does the final hit point of damage needed to finish him off for good. Gaining 1 glory point to me, putting us 2 to Stormcast, 1 to Skaven, evening the odds a little bit. I'll see if I can play any upgrades. Don't go anywhere, things just got spicy. So I spent an upgrade on Black Hunger, powering up the Hungering Skaven right back here. Stab, smash, drain the meat, drink the blood, yes, yes. So just powers them up a little bit more damage. And no support when coming through. My opponent has upgraded Angrid with block. Also shown me they had something that could have saved Severin. This might be the difference between Victory Skaven or Victory Stormcast. Would have given Severin 1 more wound to survive moving into that. I think they made a great mistake, but they'll go into Stormcast activation now, and no mucking around. Oberyn, enraged at the defeat of Severin, is charging forward, stepping onto objective number 3. He's got his Sigmarite Grand Hammer, and he will swing that in 2 attacks hitting on hammers or crits. So 1 crit, I'll get to make 1 defense, 2 defense because he's inspired. I'll need double crits. I'm gonna say that one's cocked. Yeah, nah, no good. Oh, that does 3 damage. Shit. Okay, so Oberyn is enraged. He runs forward with the might of Sigma, and he calls upon Sigma's guidance for to aim his blow. For Sigma! And as the hammer strikes, a bolt of lightning emits into the mirrored city, the sound echoing for miles. And the lurking Skaven is destroyed, gaining a third glory point for the Stormcast, putting him 3-1 in the lead. That was a big one. Final activation for turn number 2 for the Skaven. Let's see what more we could possibly do. Turns out not a lot I can do. I simply drew an objective, as did my opponent. We'll count up any objectives gained as we move into end phase for turn 2 and set up for the final turn, turn number 3. Alright, turns out my opponent also gained another objective. Lightning strike, Sigma's storm will break upon the faithless with shattering force. Score this immediately if an enemy fighter is taken out of action by a charge action. So that was Oberyn smashing into the lurking Skaven, so that's 4-1. Getting rougher and rougher. I've actually discarded all my remaining upgrade ploy cards and all my objectives. So I had 4 objectives in my hand that centered all around my enemy leader, being Spiteclaw, who was taken out early. Impossible to achieve any of those without him on the field. So maybe I played him wrong. I should have just kept him at the back the whole time. That's what most of it was all centered around. So not looking too promising. 4-1. My opponent's drawn cards the same as well, and they will actually kick things off for the final turn. Activation number 1, turn number 3, Stormcast. So my opponent spent their glory points to purchase a few upgrades. Lightning Blast for Oberyn, Shield Bash, total offense for Angrid. Oberyn has rushed forward, Sigmarite Grand Hammer ready to go once again. 2 dice hitting on hammers, support or crits. Boom. So 1 crit, 1 support coming from Angrid into who's that one? The Festering Skaven, who gets 1 defense roll. Oh, he's gonna die anyway. His hammer does 3 damage. I'll roll. Nothing. 3 damage, another lightning strike. Boom. He's gone. But also because they put through Lightning Blast, as Oberyn's Grand Hammer strikes home, a shockwave of magical energy blasts forth to send his foes reeling. So also does 1 damage onto crit as a result of the residual lightning. As if he didn't need any more damage coming through. That's another glory point though to the Stormcast, bringing him on 5-1. I'm sweating, but you know, it's all for fun, it's all for entertainment, sort of get some entertainment out to the loyal viewers. 393 subscribers as of filming, currently on the road to 500 subs by the end of 2021. After a very long hiatus, been moving, COVID, haven't had anyone to play with, as has everyone. It's been quite challenging, but it's great to be back with you. And if you enjoy what you're seeing this far into the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share this video with your family and friends. I would appreciate the support. As we move into activation number 1, final turn for the Skaven of activation, I simply chose to draw the last remaining objective card I had left. And that was it. My opponent has chosen to retreat Angrid down to objective number 1, back here, so pretty evident what she has remaining. Activation number 2 going into for the Skaven of Spiteclaw Swarm. Alright, Whānau, not a lot that I could do there really. Drawing cards, there's no point in me moving to attack. I don't have the damage to take out these golden armored warriors. So we've agreed to call it there, ending the game. 5 glory points for the Stormcast to 1 for Spiteclaw Swarm. Yeah, I made some mistakes very early in the game, not realising it's my first actual time playing with Spiteclaw Swarm, so now I understand a little bit better how they play, kind of similar to how I use Molog's Mob. I don't think I did them justice as well, but it's all in good fun. I'm a Stormcast player anyway, so I'm happy with the outcome, considering that my other 2 Stormcast warbands, the Fast Striders and the Curse Breakers, have already been eliminated in the first round. So I'm glad that the Stormcast had persevered. They will be advancing to round number 3, and they will actually be facing off against the winner of Iron Scales Boys or the Chosen Axes. So that game's coming in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, Stormcast victory. Give me any thoughts, feedback, opinions, anything you think I could have done better. Definitely a lot, now that I know playing this game in hindsight, a lot more that I would have done differently to get the Skaven win. But not to worry at all, Whānau. It's all good fun, good entertainment, tabletop gaming at its finest. I've enjoyed my time. I hope you enjoyed your time as well. If you did, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, subscribe to the channel. Once again, I'll always continue to push and promote myself as needed. Help me live out my dreams, and if I can help you live out yours, you let me know. Tune in next week as the Warhammer Underworlds Battle League continues with the second game in round number 2, seeing the Khorne warband of Garrick's Reavers versus the spooky undead of the Sepulchral Guard. Who will win that one? You got to tune in to find out. But it's been a pleasure being with you, entertaining you. Hope you enjoyed yourself. I am your humble host, New Zealand's #1, the Māori Wargamer. Thank you for watching this video. Ka kite. Anō.